Good morning, everyone. Thanks for your loyal following. This is Bronx Hospitality, where we talk everything hospitality, our journeys through this great venture, front of the house, back of the house, as owners, as community members and partners. Here today with my partner, Michael. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. And Mike, how's it going right now?
It's hot.
It's hot, huh?
Dude, this is May.
Yes.
And it's 100 degrees with the humidity.
It's not.
It is.
Okay.
You're older, so you know the blood gets cold and your probably temperature's a little lower, but it is unbelievably bad for May. We didn't even hit June, July, August. Do you know what? I looked the other day. Our mutual friend Tony is in Michigan, and they post a picture and they got vests on. So I said, I text them immediately. Chilly. I says, 60 degrees in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, why
it's
aren't we
the
there?
Canadian border there.
Why aren't we there for the whole summer?
No.
That is, like, ideal. Big John goes up there 6 months out of the year. But other than that, I'm doing well. It's just hot. You get out of the shower. You start sweating. It's just, it sucks the life out of you.
Wow.
That's a great way to start the podcast.
Yeah, you're just sucking the life out of me. Now I'm depressed.
I'm sad.
Very, very sad now. I don't know. I've been talking like my dad. My dad, my dad, he's got this, accent. Oh,
Come over here.
Come over here.
Your dad's the best, by the way.
So I have to tell you, I don't have this great relationship with my dad. My dad's visiting my brother, and my brother called me yesterday, and I'm like, how did it go? And he's like, oh, it's going pretty good. He goes, your dad, Dad really, really loves your partner, Mike. That's all he's talking about. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, that guy Mike loves me. He just loves me. And I understand you guys have been have this texting relationship, kind of like talking behind my back.
It's kind of, well, and not only behind your back, I do make you aware of it, but I just feel like he may be easier to get along with than you. I mean, me and him really clicked. We vibed. We're discussing business ventures.
Yes.
Brooklyn House Pizza. It's coming to you. But,
I'm not jealous at all.
No. I could tell.
I think you're the son that he always wanted.
Yes. Dude, the guy kissed me.
He's proud of you.
He is proud of me. And you know what? Dads love me.
Well, what I was saying was that I was telling my brother, Dad, you were very receptive to all of his stories, and I knew he was letting some whoppers out, especially when he cleared his throat.
Yeah.
And you didn't roll your eyes.
No, it's in the genes.
Oh. Bugiardo
come di padre.
Oh my God, that's
But anyway, let's
touchy.
You know
subject.
what? I want to keep it hospitality.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit today about Bronx House Pizza, and I really want to talk about just Florida blowing up.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like we're now really concentrated the last, I would say, 16 months in the Jacksonville market.
Yes.
Me being in Palm Coast since 1988, we built a house here. Been coming here since 86, I believe. Have a house since 88, moved here in 93, witnessed an absolute explosion of Palm Coast. A lot of people don't know. I don't even know if our guy Alan here knows that Garfield was our mascot. Were you aware of that, Bruno?
I moved here in 83.
Ooh,
I have a Garfield telephone.
Yes.
Oh, no.
That's what I was just going to go with, Alan. They used to give you the Garfield phone if you made a purchase. And I remember, I'm going to throw some, now that I know you've been back that long, do you remember Dante's Pizzeria?
Yes.
Dante had the 57 Chevy coming out of the wall. That was a small pizzeria next to Staples.
Yes.
Wow.
And then let's remember Joseph's Italian restaurant in St. Joe's Plaza.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember the pizza man there, Conrad, drove a Mustang 5.0. We're going way back here. But Palm Coast was tiny, and then obviously Benvenuto's open, which was in the original Publix Palm Harbor. But man, like we watched Palm Coast, which was originally designed as a retirement community. You would go up off of Clubhouse Drive, and if you weren't going to build a house, they would take you up in this
in the tower,
about 6 stories high, if I'm not mistaken, and they would point somewhere over there, and they'd say your lot is somewhere over there, and you would buy the lot like that. And
then you could take the boat ride and go see the empty lot in the middle of the jungle.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And how my father got here was there was an Italian guy, his nickname, but he didn't know about it, was Joe Matarazzo. And for those who don't know, Matarazzo means like mattress, and it's a derogatory comment you'd make about a fat person behind their back. So he was a real Italian guy, and he went up to Yonkers. Well, he was from Yonkers, and he gathered a bunch of paisans, let's say, and he would say, you got to come down to Florida. We're going to put you in a hotel. You're not going to pay for the hotel. You're not going to pay for food, which at the time was the Sheraton.
The Sheraton, yeah,
That's
over
right.
by the beach.
Correct. Wow. And so, and there was no toll bridge. There was a ferry.
Right.
Remember?
Yep.
And so Joe Matarazzo brought my dad down here, Uncle Steve, which is my dad's brother, and it worked. They all purchased. And they all purchased lots. And so, they came down here, they wined and dined you, they showed you the beach, and they were selling you lots. Some of the lots in the R section were $500.
Oh, yeah. Next to nothing.
It was, you could buy a street for $5,000.
Yeah.
But my dad bought like an expensive lot, let's say, and it was like, I don't know, 16,000, which really wasn't even a bargain. It was in Matanzas Woods at the time, but he liked the golf course. There was a golf course back there. And so funny story about the Joe Matarazzo real quick is, so they called him Joe Matarazzo behind his back. And so my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, started cutting hair, and she cut hair in Flagler Beach. And one day this guy, Joe, came in to get a haircut. And she said, Mr. Matarazzo.
Oh.
And so Joe looked at her. He says, what'd you say? She goes, Matarazzo. That's your last name, isn't it? And he turned red. He goes, no. And he found out that day what they called him behind his back.
Oh, my God.
But going back to Palm Coast, so, being here since the 80s, watching this explosion, now we're kind of maxing out, I feel. We're kind of at the point where it's 20 minutes to get from one side of Palm Coast Parkway to the other, and we're kind of gridlocked. But we're seeing in St. John's, we're seeing like all these other places in Jacksonville really, really exploding. A lot of our other stores are already in developed areas like Lake Mary, Port Orange, Ormond Beach, Palm Coast, St. Augustine. But, we opened up a small store in St. John's, and we outgrew it already in 11 months. It's just maxed. The density, the housing, and Florida's a really special place to be right now. Although everywhere's struggling a little bit right now temporarily with everything that's going on and some uncertainty, we kind of still seem to be showing no signs of letting off, if that makes if that's the
I guess, I don't want to break our arm, to pat our back, but there is a lot of blood in the streets. Realtors are calling us every single day, offering up, spots, begging us to take it. We're in with some really great landlords, and we haven't thank God we haven't had any missteps yet, and we have 3 building projects under that are happening right now, and you're having a good time. You're not really stressing out or anything like that. It's like
no, that's very true. It's
been pretty amazing. You got enough people to do the work, and you've challenged yourself as far as design and construction and stuff, but it seems like we're really firing on all cylinders right now. So I guess I don't want to say luck, because I think you kind of create your own luck, but things have been going pretty well for us.
Brew, let me ask you something now that we're on that topic. So I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty sure this is the same question you got, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. The first thing everyone asks me when they hear about how fast we're growing, last year we doubled the size of the company. We went from 5 stores to 10 stores. This year we'll be from 10 to 14. And the first question I always get asked is, how do you do it with help? How are you doing with help? And what I'd like to ask you is, what do you think I don't want to say our secret, or why do you think we're blessed? Give me it's not just a lucky start. There's got to be something going on why other people struggle, and why Bronx House Pizza is really blessed when it comes to employee,
great question,
retaining the employees, and also.
So I'm going to quote you on this a little bit. I mean, we really didn't plan this at all, but you're the type of guy that's a relationship guy. You've been for your entire, the entire time that I know you, over 20 years. And relationships are important to you. You have this certain way of making people appreciate themselves. Like you have a great way of making someone feel good about themselves in a very, very genuine way. And you've got a great memory. You're the type of guy that will remember the last thing that you said to an employee, and you'll ask how his sick mom is doing. Or, we just had an employee that had a tragedy happen. We won't say exactly what, but you're like, hey, let's give him $2,500. He's going to need money for travel and to take care of things and the time off and everything. It's like, so the other thing that you say is, let's look out for the troops. And I don't think that's the only reason, but I really do feel that people get a chance to know us. They think that they could reach out and touch us and get a hold of us if they had to. We have sort of this open door policy, but they do know that we're decent people, that we care about things, and it's the real world, right? Everybody's got a car payment and a cell payment, and they got to make the rent. And thank God we've been building these Bronx houses. We haven't spared expense, and it's been busy, and that translates into great salaries and great jobs for people in this community, and it's spreading like wildfire. That's what I think.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Just, man, like sometimes I got to pinch myself because our culture, sometimes I feel, I don't want to say undeserving, but sometimes I feel like we're blessed even more than we deserve. It's like somehow, some way, when we open a store and we remove a key employee and make him a partner, it seems like we're so blessed that somebody steps up and somebody's ready to jump into his spot. And it's like, even, at Joe's, it's like, man, like I sometimes, again, I got to pinch myself like, wow, these people are really rallying. They're buying into this. And it really fills my gas tank up, I got to say, because it makes me stop, count my blessings. And also, even at times where me and you say, hey, should we stop, reorganize, and kind of fine tune things? It's hard to do that because we find ourselves not wanting to let people down, people that have really went above and beyond, people that are really doing more than they're paid for, that are waiting for their opportunity. I feel like it would be very selfish of us to pump the brakes. I'm not saying we're going to rush something and make a mistake, but I feel that I feel we owe these people that are going above and beyond, and I feel indebted to them, and it's really a blessing for all. I got goosebumps when I say that because this is so much bigger than us, Brew.
Yeah.
Sure, our relationship was the foundation of this, and our over 50 years combined experience, but I believe what we got going on right now, it's bigger than any of us. And God forbid something happened to one of us, the show would go on because
definitely
it's a movement, and that would be my wish, as I know yours as well.
100%. Yeah.
But it's like, wow, like, man, sometimes I just got to pinch myself. I'm really grateful for we always joke around and say we are yin and yang, and it's true, but man, like, I can name all the partners. I don't even want to name one because I don't want to forget one.
Yeah.
But like every single one of them are really, really special to us, and we have a special relationship with each one of them. And I don't think it's not a mystery why we see other restaurants in town which throw money at the problem. Like, hey, I'm doing 80 grand a year, I'm doing 90 grand a year, and meanwhile, we might keep somebody for less of a salary for much longer time because I guess they're seeing the big picture in the culture and they're being appreciated. You can't just throw money at the problem. It's bigger than that. It is relationships, and it's the way people feel. There's an old saying like people, I don't want to butcher it, but people may not remember this. It's whether you did this for them or that for them, but they're always going to remember how you made them feel.
Wow.
And I think that's kind of, man, Bronx House Pizza. I mean, we're a company that's still growing and still has a lot to learn. But I mean, this movement we're on right now, man, the people that we have and the troops, the leaders, man, it is, man, I don't see it letting up anytime soon either.
Yeah, but I would have to agree with you. I mean, what we're doing here is not something that you could do in New York. Like we're from Westchester County. You can't do that in Westchester. This is just like the perfect storm. When they talk to us 10 years or 15 years from now and they're going to ask us how you did it, there is an element of, hey, we were in the right place at the right time. COVID hit, and a lot of people did move to Florida. It had a big influx of population. And even Alan, you mentioned this, like Palm Coast has a lack of infrastructure, and they're building, all of these new homes and everything. And we talked about whether or not the infrastructure could keep up. So I think that there is a lack of infrastructure. There really isn't anybody that's doing it right, and we are doing it right. And when we target a community, I would think if anybody else had ideas of targeting that community, they'd be like, well, Bronx House is there already, so we can't go there. We can't compete with Bronx House. But again, back to the culture and the employees, and I really feel like even the 16 or 17-year-old dishwasher goes back to his mom and dad at the end of the night and said, you know what? These guys are pretty awesome. And I'm not even talking about us. I'm just talking about the owners, our partners at the restaurant. And I really genuinely care about and like every one of our partners. And I think that they are embracing the culture that we've established. And it's a trickle-down effect. I mean, we really don't have any asshole partners. We really don't.
No.
If I can break in for just a second on that, because what I've noticed, because I'm outside your business, obviously I'm not connected with your business in any way other than I love the food. But what I've noticed is you have the product. You have an excellent product. But your focus is on customer satisfaction and employee retention. Obviously your attention's on your product, but that's not the vibe that comes out from your establishments. The vibe that comes out from your establishments is if the product came out and it was the best product ever put out in the world and the customer was upset, you'd accept that and you'd try to improve and move forward with that customer, rather than saying, I got the best thing in the world and you don't know what you're talking about. So it's you go into a normal restaurant, like I'm not going to name any names, but you go into a different restaurant and you are dissatisfied with a meal or something, and the waitress will call the manager over, and the manager comes over and says, hey, I'll take $10 off or whatever. But they don't ask why. Right. They don't try to get down into it. And you guys take the customer extremely seriously, and I think that's a big bonus in in the way you operate.
Alan, we've always said we really feel that service is equally important or more important than quality of food, and I think that's been something of a standard that we've really tried to set.
When I got into the business in 1995, I worked for my brother, and then in 2004, I was 23 years old. We opened the store, and I honestly had no training. The internet wasn't huge then. You couldn't just Google things, and I always stuck to three basics. Watching my dad grow up, as a gas station owner, I knew how to treat people, which is one, customer, experience, interaction. But I always said it's pretty simple when you break it down. And not simple to execute, but it's simple when you put it in layman's terms. It's the quality of food, the atmosphere, and the service. If you do those three things at a high level, good things are going to happen. And obviously location's important, but even in Palm Coast, Joe's New York Pizza is kind of hidden. It's not the ideal location. You can drive past Joe's and miss it. It's tucked away in that corner. And you know what? When you build it, they will come. If you do those three things at a high level and you really care and you obsess, good things happen. I do want to say, like, the Bronx House thing and the brand of Bronx House is something that me and Bruno have already been approached to sell the company. We've been approached, we've been evaluated, and I look at Brew and neither one of us are ready. I'm not even anywhere near. We're having so much fun. And I listened to a podcast recently, and they said when you get the most out of people, whether it's, and I think of me and Bruno's relationship, me and Bruno, although very serious at times, I would say 75% of the time we're playing. We're laughing, we're joking while handling business. And we get the most out of each other. When we get real serious and roll up our sleeves and try to send each other checklists of what's going on, sure, we do it, but it's not the best Bruno and it's not the best Mike. And one of our best openings was also our most challenging opening. We opened up one of our smallest restaurants, which was the Bronx House 100, which was really only our third store. We were relatively early on in the process, and it was our most challenging opening. We were doing, our goal was to do about 30,000 a week. We opened up doing 70,000 a week, which is 10,000 a day in a small pizzeria. We were not delivering, so it was strictly 12 tables, and when I tell you, me and Bruno worked bell to bell along with everybody else, but me and Bruno did not take a day off. And I got to tell you, it's also the most rewarding opening I've ever had. I've never had an opening that I felt so good to go home and I deserved to lay my head on the pillow. And Bruno and I got a bad foot at the end of the night. He's older than me, and I looked worse than him. I went to get up, I almost fell. He's laughing, I'm laughing, all to do it again in the morning. And we had the most fun working the hardest.
I think we worked 27 days in a row, doubles, bell to bell, and we made sure that everybody else had at least one day off.
That's correct.
Right? And you and I, talk about culture, Alan. We had a guy working salads, and instead of me, blowing up and embarrassing the guy, let's just say like a Greek salad has 10 components to it, Mike would bring the Greek salad back. He's like, hey man, there's no feta on this, and then I'd be like, well, you know what? He got 7 out of the 10, man. Let's give him some credit. But that just built, instead of breaking the guy down, I guess, that just kind of built him up. And I believe this guy, I think it's Richie.
Yes.
I think that guy's now opened 7 of our restaurants.
And you can't say Richie's name without mentioning he makes your bolognese, which you learned in Bologna.
I did.
Better than you, according to you.
He does.
So this guy who was having a hard time making the Greek salad, who now makes one of our mother sauces better than Bruno, and Bruno learned that in Bologna. And listen, I can't hold a candle to Bruno in the kitchen. So the fact that Bruno says this guy who had a hard time making a Greek salad goes to show building people up. When you build people up and you make them feel good, they'll give you everything.
We could have lost them on that opening. He could have been like, screw these guys, they're maniacs or whatever. But it was all how we reacted and all how we adapted. And Richie's like a savant. Like, he follows the recipe, but to the T. Like, the vegetables have to brown for 25 minutes, and he does it. He doesn't rush any steps.
Got a stopwatch. And it's like at 25 minutes, he'll push my mother out of the way to get there.
Yes, but now, so when you go to a restaurant and you see Richie, what does he say to you? What I know what he says, but what does he say? Do you have what? Hey, do you have...
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm like, hey, Richie, how you doing, bud? Sir, do you have approximately about 4 to 5 minutes? And that is the worst thing for so Bruno. If me and Bruno had 4 or 5 minutes, if we had that for every time we were asked, we wouldn't have any time in the day. But he's the best. We love the guy, and he has hope, and he's helped us many, many times. And the guy had a personal issue. He got into a car accident the other day.
Oh my gosh!
And he called Bruno. And Bruno calls me up. Bruno goes, where are you? And I was closer than Bruno was. And so Bruno goes, I need you to head that way. I go, screw you, Bruno. You're on your way there. He called you. He didn't call me. And Brew went there, and Brew called me. And Brew says, I got to take him back to Jacksonville. And I says, well, I'm glad he had you to count on, because that's what it's about. If he called me, I would have been there. But he called Brew.
Oh, my gosh.
Loves Bruno. And man,
that was pretty funny.
That's a great example, because I got to tell you, and even people, and I won't mention names, that have went through trouble with the law and were unhireable. We're second chance guys. Yes. This company's all about second chances. It's built on second chances. This is my second pizza company. coming to Florida was Bruno's second chance, you know, and so we were really empathetic to people because people are not perfect. Bruno and I will apologize to each other every 30 days for a mistake that we make to each other, and I think that's big what it is, because nobody's got a clean slate. Nobody's perfect. People will let you down, and, you know, I have an 80-20 rule. If somebody gives you, you know, because Bruno and I both raised from Italian immigrants, if we made that salad 7 out of 10, his dad would call him, "Are you retarded?" And then my father would just ask call me Guguch, Stunad, something like that. A little nicer than his dad, but same thing, just disappointment and put you down. And although we're from Yonkers, we're New Yorkers, Italian, we kind of respond to, even when I get on Bruno and I challenge him, whether it's about working out, whether it's about diet, I get nasty to him, and he responds best to that because he's used to that.
Isn't that amazing?
But this new generation melts under that, and we've evolved, and that's one thing I want to say, like, when you worked for me in 2004, 2005, if some of those employees are listening to me, they might say, this is total bullshit. This ain't Mike. Mike throws dishes across. Mike gets in your face. And you know what? I'm guilty of that. But I've learned over the years, adapt or die. And after I lost my brother Joe, who was the good cop and I was the bad cop, once the good cop was gone, the bad cop was running everybody off. And so I was able to make a giant adjustment in my life, because two young ladies that I cared about deeply that worked for me never met each other and told me the same things when they quit, and they had never met each other. So I did some soul searching, made some adjustments.
Well, tell Alan what they said. They'll never be able to make you happy.
And man, they were great. And one left who was with me forever, and then the other one came after her, never met her, and then said the same thing a year later. They called me into my office, and they go, I gotta let you know I'm putting my notice in. Like, what do you mean you're putting your notice in? They're like, I just feel like whatever I do, I won't be able to make you happy. And so the first one that said it, I go, that's fine. I'll do this on my own. What do you think, I need you? And I worked every day, and I rolled up my sleeves, and I did it. And then the new one came along, and she was great, and I micromanaged her less. But in the end, drove her crazy, nitpicked her. What do you do? What's up with table 2? What's going on here? I told you about this. I told you about that. And she put in her notice and says to me the same exact thing. And I, at that moment, I did some soul searching. I was able to get the second girl to stay for a while longer, and I made some adjustments with her. And now I'm proud to say, and this isn't so recently, Xavier was at St. Augustine on the bar, and Bruno stopped by. My brother Joe was the good cop. Mike, being me, was the bad cop. And Bruno was there, and Bruno was, you know, saying a couple things. And so Xavier looks at me and goes, and Bruno didn't hear him. He goes, when did you become Joe? And he goes, and when did that guy become Mike? And we laughed. But there's a balance here, because when I'm hot and heavy and I resort to 05 Mike, Bruno's the voice of reason. And that's why we say yin and yang. And the other way around is when Bruno's hot, I'm able to reel him in. So again, we did get our good cop, bad cop back. And you got to have that balance, because if not, you'll run everybody off. And a lot of people expect perfection.
It is uncanny, but I do have to interrupt you there, because if you did not obsess, and you did obsess over service and issues, and like you said, you said you aren't a chef, but I really do feel, I trust your palate. You're incredible in the kitchen. You don't give yourself enough credit. But if you didn't obsess, Mike, Joe's wouldn't be pound for pound the busiest pizza restaurant in the state of Florida. And I know the numbers that you do, and it's succinct, and I just sometimes can't believe that crew handles things so easily. But there is so much attention to detail. Like you say to me, well, you know, you taught me how not to worry about if there's not enough paper towels in the bathroom. But you know what, Mike, at the end of the day, there are enough paper towels in your bathroom, because your people really know what's important. And you were building a business. You were surviving. Your attitude every day was, somebody out there is going to try to eat my lunch. I need to fend off everyone. And you were obsessive. And that was the heart and soul of the business. I get your brother was the good guy, but you were acting as if, and that the best analogy is you were acting as if somebody was going to try to steal your lunch bag, your lunchbox.
No doubt. And I'll never apologize. And we still bring that today. Bruno and I, when we open a store, we're very unorthodox. There's no budget. Bruno doesn't put any restraints on me. He'll look at me, he'll ask me for a number.
Oh God.
And I'll just look at him and I'll throw out a number and I'll exceed that number by 40%.
Blows the budget out.
They call me blow the budget out Benici.
Yes.
But you know what? I mean, just for instance, and I'm not taking victory laps, but like a guy goes into a restaurant. Oh, there's fluorescent lighting. Those are good. Yeah, we'll just use those. They're already there. Our last tech bill was $45,000. I mean, we have a birthday song, we have our lighting, we have everything's automated in the restaurant because Bruno and I talk about obsession. So instead of coming in and yelling and screaming and losing our stuff and running people off, how do you take the human element out of it? Well, we found out that the lighting is always set automatically through the system. The music volume will be perfect. So the investment is worth it. For that investment, the aggravation's lower on our end. We're not getting into it with the staff. Sports are coming on the TV. So It's a permanent solution to a problem that we had across the board. And a lot of independent places aren't going to do that or can't do that. And it doesn't stop there. It's the brand new ovens. It's the the traditional old school Hobart mixer. We cut no corners, and that is part of the obsession when it comes to the food. The cheese we order is from Brownsville, Wisconsin, Grande cheese. You can't get a better cheese. Our tomatoes are from Modesto, California. You can't get a better tomato. So,
Amen.
Our flour is from All Trump. So everything we do, we're still not taking any. Our standards aren't dropping, but we have a different delivery now. We're not coming in yelling and screaming. We are building the people up. And when you build your people up, you're building your business up. And customers notice what kind of morale there is. Customers feel that vibe, just like a kid in his home with his mom and his father. They can tell when there's tension. Customers feel that tension when there's tension between the employees and there's tension between the owners and the employees. And that's something that, although we're not perfect, we're a work in progress. But I do think that our culture is levels above a lot of places. I just look at Chick-fil-A. I just saw a thing the other day. When you go into Chick-fil-A, you're never going to go up to the counter and have somebody at Chick-fil-A, hey, I want to order a 12-piece nugget and a chicken sandwich with no pickle. You never see the girl struggling. Hold on. No, there's somebody right next door. The training's in place. Anything you ask them, it's my pleasure. You can get a better piece of chicken somewhere else. I mean, in my opinion, you can go to Publix. The fried chicken's better than Chick-fil-A. But your experience at Chick-fil-A is very consistent across the board. It's night and day from KFC.
Yeah, that's well put. That's speaks volumes, right? Their culture, they're enabling. There's an owner on premise at Chick-fil-A.
Closed on Sunday.
Yes, they really, really look out for the troops, as you would say. So, yeah, that's pretty amazing, Mike.
Well, time, as always, goes by really fast here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We're going to continue to do this podcast weekly and look forward to all you guys tuning in. And we're going to have special guests as we go along and continue just talk about the restaurant business. We encourage other independent restaurants, if they would like to get on the show, to reach out to Bruno or myself. We are big advocates, cheerleaders. Will never put down an independent restaurant. We love even independent pizzerias. We are big on that. You'll never hear us badmouth an independent.
Mike, we've always for years have been for the advancement of the independent pizza maker across the globe, really across the globe, especially in Florida and New York. So
we'll see you next week.